Doc Thompson and Skip Lacombe on our post-show video. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can talk about radical Islam anymore because people keep screwing this thing up. Why is it so difficult to simply call it what it is? People being radical, they're terrorists. What is it based on? Islam. And on the other side, why can't you just stop messing with people who aren't radical Islamists? We're talking about this because of the shooting in Garland, Texas, outside what is being called a freedom of speech event. The lady was poking people in the eye. Now, of course, that is her right to do that in America, and I passionately support that, and if they tried to shut her down, I'd be all ticked off. But let's be honest, she wasn't free speechifying. She was poking people in the eye and trying to get some attention and possibly money for her and her organization.
Bottom line, it comes down to rule number 5. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
There were a lot of rule violations. Number 5, number 1, don't be a jerk. Was anybody at the event being a jerk?
Yes,
anybody whatsoever?
Everybody was. We got the people who were holding the event, the people who attended the event, the terrorists that went up and shot a cop.
They were being jerks.
All being jerks.
About the only people who weren't violating rule number 1 were the cops who shot those guys dead. Shockingly, Pete Kasperowitz from our DC bureau had a pretty good point about the shooting in Garland, Texas. An idea of what would keep things like this from happening.
Why would we tell you here when you can listen to the podcast?
Skip was late with his Ginchy audio file.
I was late? What do you mean I was late?
You were late with the audio file.
You went off on a tangent. I wasn't late.
Let's not point fingers.
You were just pointing fingers.
Let's just say unforeseen circumstances delayed the Ginchy audio file, but eventually we got to it.
You're even delaying me getting to it in the video. A 6th grader was interviewing the president outside of Washington, D.C. and thought the president was going a little long-winded, straight up interrupted him and said, "Oh, yeah, I think you covered that kind of enough." If most reporters in D.C. acted like this kid, we'd have better media.
If most reporters in D.C. acted like this kid, we'd have a better president.
Shockingly, over the weekend, the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, you will never believe who sang the national anthem. Ray Charles. I could not believe
it. It wasn't Ray Charles, it was Jamie Foxx. There's 2 main ways you know it was Jamie Foxx. Number 1, Ray Charles is dead. Number 2, Ray Charles can actually sing.
Ray Charles is dead?
And so is Jamie Foxx's singing career. Just sing the notes. The notes are there. If you know the music, sing the notes. No.
And a little tip to anybody out there who's wearing a microphone. If you go to the restroom, make sure your microphone is off. Once again, somebody got caught on a hot mic. This time a city councilor in Texas.
That was a hot mic.
Spoiler alert, he didn't wash his hands either.
Jeff Fisher's on the Georgetown, Texas Council?
No, it's not Jeffy.
I don't know. I may have to be with the rioters. I may have to ride with the Baltimore rioters now. When your government is paying for you to be anally penetrated, I think you got a real beef. Johns Hopkins University got a federal grant for a study they've been working on for the last couple of years to see how black men feel when they've been anally penetrated. So I ask you, if your government was paying for you to be anally penetrated, wouldn't you have a problem?
I mean, unless you're into that, do you?
You're from New Mexico. You need to be aware of stuff like this. Apparently gang activity at a middle school in Farmington, New Mexico. Something far worse than MS-13. Christians.
It's the Rosary Squad, y'all.
They brought an 8th grade girl in, sat her down, asked her about her gang activity, if she'd been selling drugs or anything like that because of her rosary beads.
A waitress in Fort Smith, Arkansas recently got a really nice surprise when she went to collect a check. On a tab of $278, a nice lady anonymously left $2,000. The waitress said she had to sit there for a few minutes and just look at it because she couldn't believe it was real.
When do you start?
I got an interview today, I can't. They don't just hire anybody at the Logan's Roadhouse in Fort Smith, I gotta go through the process.
Sure.
This isn't an Outback. If you are on the Twitter, please follow at Doc Thompson Show and at Skip Lacombe. You can hear our full podcast by clicking the link in the description, and subscribe to our videos, too. Every time somebody subscribes, an angel gets its wings.